Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. US President Donald Trump cancelled strikes and bombings against Iran, cites progress in ongoing negotiations. Tehran denies any such claims, says no final decision made. South Korean court sentences former President Yoon Suk Yeol to 30 years in prison over Pyongyang drone case. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar defends New Delhi's Russia-Ukraine stance, says Indians have never done anything to endanger Europe. National capital braces for fresh rain spell and thunderstorms. Orange alert issued. Heavy showers also expected in northeast and southern India. And goals galore as FIFA World Cup 2026 kicks off. Mexico beats South Africa 2-0. South Korea pip Czech Republic 2-1 to mark a winning start to 2026 campaign. US President Donald Trump has cancelled planned strikes against Iran, citing progress in ongoing negotiations between the two sides. The announcement came hours after Trump threatened further bombings and signaled a desire to take control of Iran's key oil export hub, Kharg Island. He said the scheduled strikes and bombings had been called off, while a naval blockade would remain in force until a final agreement is reached. Meanwhile, Iran said it has not yet made a final decision on a possible agreement with the United States. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai said much of the negotiating text had been finalized, but accused Washington of repeatedly changing its positions. And US forces shot down two Iranian one-way attack drones as Tehran appeared to attempt to strike commercial ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz. A US official told news agency Reuters on Thursday in the latest clashes between the two nations. So the latest incident comes amid continuing hostilities and fragile diplomatic efforts between Washington and Tehran. And of course, the Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most important energy corridors, carrying a significant share of global oil and gas supplies. So US forces shot down two Iranian one-way attack drones as Tehran appeared to attempt to strike commercial ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz. A US official told news agency Reuters on Thursday in the latest clashes between Washington and Tehran. And as per state media reports, Iranian forces prevented a tanker from transiting the Strait of Hormuz without coordination. Iran's top joint military command announced on Thursday the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, including oil tankers and commercial ships, saying any vessel that will attempt passage will be shot at. Iranian media also reported explosion sounds off the coast of Sirik. A military source told state media that the sounds heard near Sirik were linked to Iranian forces confronting an oil tanker attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. All right, DD India's Akhilesh Suman has been tracking this story. He is joining us live from New Delhi. Akhilesh, what are the latest details emerging about the reported interception of the two Iranian drones by the US?
Right, that Iranians and US both are in quite bit confrontation on the Strait of Hormuz, because the Iranians have declared that the Strait of Hormuz is closed for any passage of any type of ships, tankers, any warships. Nothing can pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Earlier, it was provided that after coordination with Iranians, he could depart. But now Iranians have declared that no ship can pass through that Strait of Hormuz, and Americans are trying to transgress into that region without any coordination with Iranians. So I think that this conflict is going on for quite some time, and it takes effect more often than not. Whenever Americans fly. American ships, anything is passing through the Iranian side. In that way, there is a confrontation. So I think that there is a bit difficult situation for both Iranians and U.S. Ships. Any flight, any helicopter. We have seen that Apache helicopter was dropped down in the Strait of Hormuz. And yesterday, Donald Trump had declared that we are reaching the deal, but he said that it will stop all the attacks that he had earlier declared that U.S. will hit hard against the Iranians in the night, but he backed from this position. In between, Iranians have told that no agreement has been reached between U.S. and Iran till now. In between, whatever we are hearing that Qatar's delegation was there in Iran, in Tehran, and Qatar delegation went from Tehran to Doha again, and I think they have passed some message from Iranian side about further negotiation. So fine prints are being drafted, phrases are being recalibrated, and the nuclear issue, the processed uranium issue is also being weighed, that what can be the midway. So these are the issues that are being discussed with interlocutor, and I think that Doha is coming to be more effective than earlier interlocutor. And also Donald Trump has told that a deal may be signed in Europe somewhere. So I think that is a new type of situation has arisen, and many more players have entered into the fray for negotiation. We have seen earlier that 22 nations have condemned and criticized Iran from blockade of Strait of Hormuz, but they all want not confrontation, but they want negotiation. So I think that a situation is becoming conducive somehow or other, so that there can be an agreement. But I know that Netanyahu and Donald Trump had a talk yesterday, and Netanyahu said that the bottom line remains the same: no processed nuclear material with Iran and no missile capability of Iran. So now it is a situation. It is a situation, and the bottom line is the same for US also. So whether Iranians will agree on these bottom lines or not, that is a big question, because the whole world is having a hope that negotiations should complete, negotiations should be successful, agreement should be reached between Iran and USA, but it is not happening for quite some time. So this is the problem.
But Akhilesh, again, I mean, strikes are on, blockade of Strait of Hormuz also continues. What impact could these developments have on international shipping, oil markets, and also regional stability in the Gulf?
That regional stability is quite disturbed, but whatever we are getting, that yesterday UAE and Iran had also talked. So this is something a new situation. Earlier Iran had talked to Saudi Arabia. So now it is UAE. UAE has been the most affected by the Iranian attacks because of the American bases where they are stationed there in UAE. So Gulf is also trying to recalibrate its situations, and they are trying to negotiate somehow or other with Iranians so that attacks are not guided against them. But Iranians have this only bargaining chip. that wherever there is US base, they will attack because US is quite far. Iranians cannot fight against US in the traditional war. So that is the situation. So let us hope. We cannot guarantee anything in this situation unless there is agreement between US and Iran, I would say.
All right, Akhilesh, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs.
Thank you.
On to another news, unfortunate news that is just coming in. Indian shooting legend and celebrated coach Jaspal Rana passed away on Friday at the age of 49 after suffering a medical emergency earlier this week. Jaspal Rana, who was serving as the high-performance coach for India's pistol shooters, reportedly felt discomfort while returning to India from ISSF World Cup in Munich. After landing in New Delhi, he was admitted to Max Hospital in Saket, where he underwent treatment. The National Rifle Association of India, which is NRAI, later confirmed his demise. So, multiple-time Asian Games and Commonwealth Games medalist Jaspal Rana was one of India's finest shooters and later emerged as one of country's most successful coaches too. He played a key role in nurturing the next generation of Indian shooters, including Olympic medalist Manu Bhakar. DD India's Deepika Mehto has more details. Deepika, a towering figure in Indian shooting is no more. Big loss for sports fraternity.
Indeed, Abhishek, this comes as a huge loss to the entire sports fraternity. All the shooters, they are in complete shock because the entire squad was returning from Munich, and he felt, as you also just said in your report, that he felt discomfort during the flight route, and when he was...
Yes, we'll come back to Deepika. We'll try to connect her again, but Indian shooting legend and celebrated coach Jaspal Rana passed away on Friday, that is today, at the age of 49 after suffering a medical emergency this week. Serving as the high-performance coach for India's pistol shooters, felt discomfort while returning to India from the ISSF World Cup in Munich, and after landing in New Delhi, he was admitted to Max Hospital in Saket, where he underwent treatment. The NRAI later confirmed his demise. Last Saturday, he was returning from Munich and felt discomfort in chest while in the air. He mistook it for acidity, and after arriving in Delhi, he went to show a doctor who placed a stunt also to address a cardiac blockage. Deepika joins us again. Deepika, please go on. Big loss for everyone, big loss for sports fraternity.
Yes, indeed, Abhishek. This comes as a huge shock for the entire sports fraternity, and especially for the discipline of shooting, because this is a huge loss. Jaspal Rana has not only been a towering figure, but contributing himself in the field of sports and shooting by getting so many medals and making the country proud on the international podium, but also as a coach, as a mentor, as the high-performance coach right now, for which he was serving till the last time he was serving in ISSF World Cup Munich in Germany. Everything was going perfectly well, and especially we had high expectations because Asian Games are coming in, Commonwealth Games are coming in. Indian shooting was looking in perfect form. But right now, this current moment, when we look at it, it's everybody is in despair because this happened all of a sudden. It was on last Saturday when the entire squad was returning from ISSF World Cup in Munich, and he felt discomfort, as you also reported, that he felt discomfort in the flight itself, and upon landing in New Delhi, he was admitted to Max Saket Hospital, and one stent was operated, but again, that was not successful, and he breathed his last on Thursday night, and we got the news in the early, hours of Friday morning. And since the time everybody got this news, this is not only a breaking news for all the channels all across the country, but this really breaks heart of so many shooters who were looking forward to own themselves, who were looking forward to, get their own learnings, teachings, and get themselves coached by this legendary, shooter Jaspal Rana. Rana. We all know the fact that Jaspal Rana has been behind the success of Manu Bhaker. Manu Bhaker, the double Olympic medalist. Manu Bhaker created history, not only being being a woman, but also a shooter, getting 2 medals back to back in the Olympics. It's not an easy task, and it's not only about Manu Bhaker. He has given so many stars to the field of shooting, and as a player himself, he got so many medals. At Asian Games level, at other international levels, and in the 1990s, he rose to prominence. Then in the year 2012, he came and took charge of the junior pistol program in the year 2012, and after that, since then, he's been, continuously helping, continuously giving so many rising stars to the world of shooting. India has always done great when it comes to the discipline of shooting, but now, this particular moment, when we talk about it, this is a moment of despair, because people are looking and staring at something that this was something unexpected. All of a sudden,
Yes.
of everything happened. He mistook it for acidity when he felt that discomfort in his chest in that flight, and when he came back, he was admitted to the hospital, and all of a sudden we have this news now that Jaspal Rana, the legendary shooter, is no more. So indeed, it's a huge, huge loss when we look at it, because it's not only about the upcoming Asian Games or Commonwealth Games, but it is about the future. Now, any other coach will, of course, take the role forward, but the kind of legacy that Jaspal Rana has left behind is unmatchable, Abhishek.
Absolutely huge loss, like you said, and he had in fact experienced chest pain and discomfort during the World Cup in Munich, Germany, and faced a similar issue during his return flight to India. He was immediately admitted to the hospital upon landing, and according to NRAI President Kalikesh Narayan Singh Deo, he died at the hospital, and after doctors examined his condition, a stunt in fact was put in place to clear a cardiac blockage. A second stunt procedure was expected to be carried out a few days later, and then it was reported that Jaspal was stable and recovering before the news of his death emerged. Deepika, also, talking about his career, how significant was his contribution to India's rise as a global force in shooting?
Since the year 2012, when he took up the role as a coach, he has been really significant, and his, contribution was awarded by conferring the Dronacharya Award upon him. That was back in the year 2020 when Jaspal Rana was conferred with the highly prestigious Dronacharya Award, which is one of the highest honors, of course, in the Indian sport. But he has given so many stars, as we were talking about. The recent one being, Manu Bhaker, and his tenure with Manu Bhaker, his coaching relationship, Manu Bhaker has also been a very good association on and off. But then, of course, the final result was really amazing when we look at it. Apart from that, he's given many other stars to the to shooting discipline here, and this includes Saurabh Chaudhary, Anish Banwala, and in fact Chinky Yadav as well. We saw how Aisha Singh also performed at the recently concluded ISSF, ISSF World Cup in Munich, there in Germany. And apart from that, so many stars were already, they were rising stars that Jaspal Rana always had his eyes upon. Apart from Manu Bhaker, apart from Anish Banwala or Saurabh Yadav, there were other students who were grooming under the leadership of and the under the coachmanship of Jaspal Rana. So his contribution has been immense. We've seen that how many medals India has got so far in Asian Games, the kind of medal record we have in the Olympics as well, that stands as a record in itself. And Jaspal Rana, being a player, being a shooter himself, and now as a coach as well, he's contributed immensely. And for this is for the same reason that he was now deputed as the high performance coach in the 25-meter pistol event by the ISSF and NRAI. So here, when we talk about his contribution, it's been really immense, and his award, the Dronacharya Award, speaks for itself, that the sort of contribution he had always been giving to the sports fraternity, to the sports industry. And apart from that, when we talk about,
All right, Deepika, we'll come back to you, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi has posted on X, deeply saddened by the passing of Shri Jaspal Rana ji. His passing is a profound loss to the world of Indian sports. He brought immense glory to the nation through his extraordinary achievements in shooting. Equally remarkable was his contribution as a mentor, shaping and guiding young athletes With great dedication, his unwavering commitment to excellence, discipline and service to the sporting world earned him immense admiration. My thoughts are with his family, friends and the entire sporting fraternity in this hour of grief. Om Shanti. This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has posted on X. A shooting legend and national coach has been widely credited as the man behind Manu Bhakar's rise in the sport, and it was in fact under Jaspal Rana's guidance that Manu Bhakar won 2 medals for India at the Paris Olympic Games, one of the most successful Indian athletes in the history of Commonwealth Games, dominating across 4 editions: 1994, 1998, 2002 and 2006. And his most famous performance for India came at the 2006 Doha Asian Games, where he won 3 gold medals and equaled the world record in the 25-meter center fire pistol. He also won a gold medal at the 1994 Milan World Championship in the junior category with a world record score, announcing his arrival on the global stage at just 18 years old. Yes, big loss for the sports fraternity. He was admitted to Delhi's hospital, Max Hospital, where he breathed his last. He passed away in the hospital. He had recently undergone stunt surgery. He had experienced chest pain and discomfort during the World Cup in Munich, Germany, and faced a similar issue during his return flight to India. Also, Deepika, can you take us through his remarkable journey from champion shooter, Asian Games medalist, Commonwealth Games medalist to one of India's most respected coaches?
Indeed, Abhishek, when we talk about, the glorious career of Jaspal Rana, 15 medals in the Commonwealth Games itself and 8 in Asian Games is something which is really celebratory when we talk about achievements of any of the, shooter. He's not only got the 15 medals, but a remarkable figure of 9 gold medals, as you mentioned, 4 silver medals and 2 bronze medals, starting from the year 1994 till the year 2006. That has been his most extraordinary achievement in Commonwealth Games throughout. And apart from that, Asian Games, he has made India proud at the Asian Games as well by bagging a total number of 8 medals. And his, of course, stunning that 3 gold, 1 silver haul at the 2006 Doha Asian Games remains a very prominent memory for all of us now, because he's contributed so many medals to the medal tally of India at the international level. And when we talk about particularly Asian Games, 4 gold medals at the Asian Games itself. So when we calculate the figure, 9 gold medals at Commonwealth Games and 4 gold medals at Asian Games itself speaks volumes about the kind of shooter he was, about the kind of player he was. And this was well recognized by the government of India by honoring him with an Arjun Award and then a Padma Award and finally a Dronacharya Award as well, the highest civilian honors that the government can give. All were bestowed, all were conferred on Jaspal Rana, the legendary shooter. Now, this is something unmatchable that he has given to the world of shooting, especially for India, because India's prominence in the discipline of shooting has rose, tenfold as compared to, different disciplines that India is witnessing a rise in. And shooting has been one of the most closest and one of the most very tactical sport that India has witnessed. And when we talk about, the tactical aspect, he was very tactical and he was always very accurate. And also when we talk about his coachmanship, the kind of, camaraderie he shared with the players, the kind of relationship he shared with the players, be it a medalist or be it a non-medalist. He always, treated everyone really equally, that whosoever is the player should be coached perfectly so that he comes out with great numbers. So we've seen over the past 12 years specifically that how India's sport has transformed, how India has got so many, other facilities, infrastructural facilities, but that was not the case before that. So when we talk about Jaspal Rana's prominence straight from the 1990s, the kind of medalists he's got to India, and India has, rose on the global platform, this speaks volumes, because we are not, despite of, unavailability of that sort of infrastructural, facility back in the 1990s, and not having the perfect coaching, not having the perfect attire also, and the equipment, when we talk about it, still Jaspal Rana did so well. And
Yes.
till recent time as well, he was the high performance director for the 25-meter pistol event when he was returning in the flight, in that particular flight from Munich. This unfortunate incident happened, but his legacy remains unmatchable, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi also tweeted that he will always be remembered forever.
Yes.
And of course, it's a void now that has been left behind, as he
Big
left
void.
the entire sporting fraternity in shock. Abhishek.
Yes, Jaspal Rana was instrumental in shaping the careers of several top shooters, including the Olympic medalist Manu Bhaker, and Jaspal Rana's passing, in fact, comes as a major shock for the sports fraternity. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs, Deepika. Time now for a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
Across India, human-animal encounters have now become more frequent than ever. So maybe the wild isn't as far as we think.
The Brown Bear project was launched here in 2023. Its goal is to create harmony between bears and humans.
These are the musk roses. This ancient flower is emerging as a valuable crop in Uttarakhand. Rosewater offers farmers here a high-value alternative.
And here, 1 ton of biochar, which is obtained from around 8 trees. In the international carbon credit market, this can earn upwards of $300 for each ton of biochar.
The Tamil Nadu Tribal Welfare Department teamed up with the Indian Institute of Horticultural Research. Farmers receive free seeds, fertilizers and machinery, along with training in crop management.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. South Korea's former President Yoon Suk-yeol has been sentenced to 30 years in prison over allegations linked to his failed 2024 martial law declaration. A Seoul court found South Korea's former President Yoon Suk-yeol guilty of ordering military drones to be sent into North Korean airspace, a move prosecutors said was intended to create a pretext for imposing martial law in December 2024. On to updates on China, Philippines. The Philippines Defense Minister was defiant after Beijing sanctioned him for what it termed irresponsible remarks as the two nations grapple over the disputed South China Sea. Foreign Ministry in an online statement said that Gilberto Teodoro, as well as his spouse and child, will be banned from entering China's mainland, Hong Kong and Macau. Beijing claims the strategic waterway nearly in its entirety, despite an international ruling that said its assertions are baseless. China regularly deploys Navy and Coast Guard vessels to bar the Philippines from important reefs and islands in the area. President Donald Trump's handpicked board at the Kennedy Center is seeking to keep his name on the iconic performing arts venue's facade, voting to request a legal stay just days before a court-ordered deadline to remove it. The move comes after U.S. District Judge Christopher Cooper ruled that Trump's name was unlawfully added and ordered it removed by Friday, saying only Congress can change the Kennedy Center's official name. The judge also blocked planned renovations that were due to begin in July. The board, which Trump reshaped after returning to office, has increasingly asserted control over the institution, including installing him as chairman and renaming the venue. The decision has deepened controversy around the center, which has seen a wave of artist withdrawals and resignations amid growing political tensions. And former army officer Dan Jarvis was Thursday named Britain's new defence minister hours after John Healey quit, accusing the government of failing to commit enough money to protect the country. Jarvis was a junior minister for security in the Home Office under Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour government. Healey's shock resignation weakens Starmer's authority a week before a by-election that could prompt a bid to replace the Prime Minister. Healey warned that Starmer's delayed defence investment plan could leave Britain less safe, although the Prime Minister has pledged to publish it before the NATO summit in Turkey on July 7. And following the resignation of John Healey, Al Carnes became the second senior figure in the defence establishment to quit, stepping down as Armed Forces Minister. The latest resignation adds to the challenges facing Starmer, who has been under pressure since Health Minister Wes Streeting stepped down in May. Meanwhile, another potential challenger, Andy Burnham, is reportedly seeking a return to frontline politics to launch a leadership bid. In Northern Ireland's Belfast, police arrested 16 people during a second night of disorder sparked by a brutal stabbing, but there were no new clashes on Thursday evening. Groups gathered across the city in the evening but dispersed peacefully after police increased their presence and issued warnings. The previous night saw dozens of masked protesters clash with police. The clashes with police came after a Sudanese man appeared in court charged with attempted murder over Monday night's shocking knife attack. Video of the incident went viral across social media platforms, triggering condemnation and anger that has spilled onto the streets of Northern Ireland. And thousands of protesters marched through Albania's capital on Thursday, the latest in a series of demonstrations against a planned resort linked to the Trump family. For over a week, daily demonstrations have been held in Tirana against the project connected to Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, and her husband, Jared Kushner. As in previous rallies, the crowd marched to the government headquarters on Tirana's main boulevard. The planned €5 billion project has sparked controversy over its location near a protected wetland rich in wildlife and concerns about the transparency of plans put forward by foreign investors. The unrest adds pressure on PM Edi Rama, whose resignation is being demanded amid growing criticism over corruption and public services. And Princess Mahidol of Thailand, the king's eldest daughter, has died at the age of 47, more than 3 years after she was admitted to hospital due to a sudden illness. Princess Mahidol, known as Princess Bha, died after a prolonged illness following her hospitalization in December 2022. She had been suffering from an abdominal infection and her condition worsened over time, eventually requiring life support measures for her lung and kidney functions. She was the only child of King Vajiralongkorn's first marriage and held prominent roles both in Thailand and internationally, including work with United Nations and advocacy for women's rights. Her funeral will be held with full royal honours and she will lie in state at the Grand Palace in Bangkok. On to some updates on Ebola outbreak. Congo's Ebola outbreak has spread to 3 new health zones, according to a government report published on Thursday that showed the number of confirmed cases had risen to 676, including 136 deaths. The figure represented the total number of confirmed cases as of Wednesday. A health zone in Congo's healthcare system covers a defined area with a network of clinics and a referral hospital covering lakhs of people. There are over 500 health zones in the country. Time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Prime Minister Modi to visit France, hold comprehensive talks with Macron in Nice. A closer look at how over the past 12 years, government initiatives have aimed to empower marginalized communities. And we'll get you a special report from South Africa as people gear up to celebrate International Day of Yoga on 21st June.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. External Affairs Minister Dr. EAM Jaishankar, who is on Finland visit, stressed the need for resilient and diversified supply chains, sustained diplomatic efforts and greater international cooperation to deal with the fallout of ongoing conflicts. Speaking in a panel discussion at Kultaranta talks on emerging powers and the new geopolitical competition, the minister said that India is firming up defence ties with Europe. On energy security, External Affairs Minister reiterated that India's energy choices are guided by national interest and that purchases are based on considerations of affordability and availability.
To some extent, the rest of the world will work with the region also to build redundancy, and the IMEC, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, is envisaged as one such initiative. But the third one, which is really interesting, I cite my own country as an example. Today, our largest oil supplier, little less than 40%, is Russia. Our largest gas supply is the United States. And that was not the case till the 28th of February of this year. The main supplier was Qatar.
Sure.
So what is happening is the world is also de-risking on the region.
And giving his remarks on India's stance on Russia and Ukraine conflict, the minister said that Indians have never done anything to endanger Europe. Take a listen.
To obviously ask you about the Russia-Ukraine war, I think in Europe there was a feeling that India adopted what we would regard as a kind of moral equivalence between the two sides, that you were saying, well, it's a big shame, but maybe they should stop, but you were too sympathetic towards Russia, too willing to buy oil from Russia. So how would you explain that position to the people here?
Well, I'd make two observations. I buy oil. I buy oil based on cost and availability. So at that point of time, much of the oil available on the market was Russian, because Europeans were essentially buying up the Middle East oil, which was our traditional supply. So circumstances pushed us in a certain direction. But since you spoke about moral ambiguity, I would say this, no European country has been attacked with Indian weapons. I wish I could say that for European weapons vis-a-vis India. So keep that in mind.
Be more explicit so that people understand what you're saying.
Europeans sell weapons which are used to attack India. Not now, for many, many years. We Indians have never done anything to endanger Europe. So I think that's a reasonable point.
Okay.
Earlier, EAM Jaishankar met Finnish President Alexander Stubb on the sidelines of Kultaranta talks and exchanged views on the evolving geopolitical situation and underscored the importance of diplomacy in navigating an increasingly uncertain global environment. India and Finland remain committed to advancing our strategic partnership in digitalization and sustainability while strengthening coordination in multilateral fora on issues of shared interest. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Evian, France to participate in the 52nd G7 summit scheduled to be held from 15th to 17th June. Secretary West in the Ministry of External Affairs, Sibi George, said that PM Modi is visiting France on the invitation of French President.
Honorable Prime Minister will be traveling to Evian, France to participate in the 52nd G7 summit, which is to be held from 15 to 17 June, where India has been invited as a partner country. The visit will provide an opportunity for the Honorable Prime Minister to engage with the world leaders present at the G Summit on issues of importance to India as well as to the global South.
The Secretary asserted that India's regular participation in G7 summits reflects global recognition of its growing role in addressing challenges related to peace, security, development and sustainability.
India's regular participation at the G7 summits reflects the increasing recognition of India's role and contributions in addressing global challenges relating to peace, security, development, and environmental sustainability. Also at the G7, as in other international forums, including the G20 and the OAS of Global South Summit, India has consistently brought to the forefront the priorities, concerns, and developmental aspirations of the Global South.
And Secretary West further talked about the key priorities of G7 summit.
The G7 summit under the French presidency has chosen some key priorities for the current year. In broad terms, these are reducing excessive macroeconomic imbalances and fostering shared growth, renewing international partnerships and development solidarity, strengthening the resilience of critical mineral value chains, protecting miners online, settling major geopolitical crises, to work on the fight against organized crime and illicit flows, etc.
Moving on, India is all set to witness a journey of transformation in the deep tech sector as India continues to stride forward on the path to progress the clear vision of becoming a developed nation by 2047 and taking the India-France ties to a new level. The maiden edition of Bharat Innovates is all set to be hosted in France's Nice from June 14. Take a look at this next report to understand more about the maiden event that is all set to bring a change where India meets the world celebrating deep tech.
साल 2026 भारत फ्रांस संबंधों के लिए एक अति विशेष वर्ष है। इसमें पीपल टू पीपल एक्सचेंज और गहरे होंगे। इंडस्ट्री टू इंडस्ट्री पार्टनरशिप का विस्तार होगा। जून 2026 में फ्रांस में भारत इनोवेट्स 2026 के तहत हम भारत के बेहतरीन टेक स्टार्टअप दुनिया के सामने रखेंगे, जो हेल्थ, क्लाइमेट, सिक्योरिटी जैसे ग्लोबल चैलेंजेस के समाधान बना रहे हैं।
India stands at a defining moment in its development journey, one where innovation is no longer merely an aspiration, but a fundamental driver of economic growth, global competitiveness, and societal transformation. In Bharat's Amritkal, where the mission is to become a developed nation by the year 2047, the Government of India has launched Bharat Innovates 2026 during the India-France Year of Innovation. It is a national program of the Ministry of Education, Government of India, designed as a global accelerator for innovations from Indian higher education institutions, thereby building a long-term collaboration bridge between India's innovation ecosystem and global stakeholders. Announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 17th of February 2026 at the inauguration of the India-France Year of Innovation, the maiden event extends invitation to global leaders, CEOs, investors, and universities to collaborate with India's innovation ecosystem. Bharat Innovates 2026. The maiden edition takes India's top 120 deep tech startups to Nice, France, to catalyze pilots, co-development, investments, research partnerships, manufacturing, and market access, along with 15 premier Indian higher education institutions, including the IITs and IISC, and 5+ scientific and strategic institutions will come together. Bharat Innovates will serve as a privileged gateway to the Indian innovation ecosystem, revolving around 13 frontier technology themes. These include semiconductors, biotechnology, space and defense, healthcare and medtech, advanced computing, AI, cloud, quantum, next-gen communications, advanced materials and critical minerals, energy, sustainability and climate, smart cities and mobility, blue economy, agri and food technologies, disaster management and resilience. For global stakeholders, Bharat Innovates 2026 will provide an opportunity to build sustained engagement with India's innovation ecosystem through investor-grade deal flow, fast-track partnerships, research access, problem-to-solution bridge, global soft landing routes, R&D pipeline. As the world navigates rapid technological disruption, climate imperatives, and evolving supply chains, India is emerging not just as a participant in these changes, but as a leader shaping the future. The narrative has moved beyond Make in India to embrace a more ambitious vision. Create in India, innovate for the world.
French President Emmanuel Macron had famously said, "The question is no longer if India innovates, the question is who will innovate with India." We are at Palais d'Exposition, the venue of Bharat Innovates, a unique global platform which is going to bring together and join the ecosystems of higher education, startups and talent mobility of India and France. With camera person Aniket Dubey, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India, Nice.
And the innovators of India participating in Bharat Innovators 2026 have gathered in Nice ahead of the summit. Our correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh speaks to them to know what they have to offer to the country and the world. Take a listen.
Our clothing is basically the microplastic free, and we are in the, as per the global scenario now, the many brands are recognizing those startups which we are working, which are making the microplastic free clothing, and now the cotton is not considered as a sustainable fiber. So like fibers like lyocell and wool is now considered as a sustainable, and they are sustainable because they degrade in the soil in the matter of months.
We are into anti-drone systems. Our systems are being used for countering the rogue drones, primarily which are coming across border point of view, and also into the war zones. I've seen this defense industry growing in my 20 years, and I can really see this new leadership which has come, which has given so much of impetus to this startups, and specifically in the key technologies.
We're helping manufacturers reduce their turnaround time, and we're helping them produce industrial grade, fully functional metal parts in a fraction of the time and at half the cost. We've been able to do this by developing our entire tech stack, made in India, made in-house in Think Metal, the hardware, the software and the materials that we build it all from.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah will chair a high-level security review meeting on Jammu and Kashmir in New Delhi with a special focus on preparedness for the annual Amarnath Yatra scheduled to begin next month. The Home Minister is also likely to assess the ground situation and review steps taken to ensure the pilgrimage passes off peacefully and without incident. The meeting comes weeks ahead of the commencement of the annual pilgrimage to the Amarnath Cave Shrine, which attracts thousands of devotees from across the country and involves extensive security and logistical arrangements across multiple districts of Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister Modi becomes the country's longest continuously serving elected Premier, marking 12 years at the helm of the central government, a journey dedicated to trust, development and public welfare. Over the last 12 years, the government has focused on empowering marginalized communities through targeted interventions in education, skill development, infrastructure and social welfare. Among the key beneficiaries of these efforts have been tribal and minority communities, with programs aimed at expanding opportunities, preserving cultural heritage and ensuring greater participation in the nation's development journey. Here's our special report.
For India's tribal communities, the last decade has witnessed a significant increase in government support. The budget of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has more than tripled, while allocations under the Development Action Plan for scheduled tribes have witnessed increased more than fivefold. A landmark initiative, PM Janman, launched in 2023 with an outlay of around 24,000 crore rupees, is focused on the development of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, improving access to housing, education, healthcare, roads, drinking water, and connectivity. Education has received a major boost through the expansion of Eklavya model residential schools, with hundreds of schools providing quality education and residential facilities to tribal students across the country. The government has also strengthened efforts to preserve tribal identity and heritage. November 15th is now observed as Janjatiya Gaurav Divas in honor of Bhagwan Birsa Munda, while the election of Draupadi Murmu as India's first tribal president marked a historic milestone in representation. For minority communities, the focus has been on education, skill development, and economic empowerment. Scholarship programs, including pre matric, post matric, and merit cum means schemes, have supported students from minority communities with special emphasis on girls' education. The PM Vikas program has integrated multiple skill development initiatives to provide training, entrepreneurship, support, and livelihood opportunities, particularly for youth, women, and traditional artisans. Infrastructure development in minority concentrated areas has been strengthened through the Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karikram, supporting the creation of schools, hospitals, hostels, skill centers, and community assets. Minority entrepreneurs have also benefited from concessional loan schemes through the National Minorities Development and Finance Corporation. Among the most significant reforms was the abolition of instant triple talaq in 2019, aimed at protecting the rights and dignity of Muslim women. The government also introduced reforms in the Hajj process through digitization and measures that enable women to undertake Hajj without a mehram. Together, these initiatives reflect a broader effort to ensure social justice, economic opportunity, and inclusive development for some of India's most vulnerable communities. From empowering tribal communities through education, infrastructure, to expanding opportunities for minorities through skill development and social reform. The past 12 years have seen a focused effort to make growth more inclusive and participatory. As India advances towards the vision of Viksit Bharat, the empowerment of every community remains central to the nation's development agenda. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And the India Met Department has issued a fresh alert for central, eastern and southern India over the next 2 to 3 days, bringing widespread rainfall activity across multiple regions. A fresh spell of rain accompanied by gusty winds swept across parts of the national capital, bringing much needed relief from the intense heat and humid conditions that had gripped the city over the past several days. The Weather Department has issued an orange alert for thunderstorms, hailstorms and torrential rain in 16 states, including Delhi and Uttar Pradesh, until June 12. All right, sports updates now. We'll start with FIFA World Cup. South Korea came back from a goal down to snatch a thrilling 2-1 win over Czech Republic in their World Cup Group A opener in Mexico. Substitute Oh Hyun-gyu grabbed the winner in the 80th minute. Korea captain Song Hyun-min wasted a number of decent chances before his Czech counterpart Greshke broke the deadlock against the run-off play in the 59th minute by heading the ball into the nets. But the lead was short-lived as Hwang In-beom kept his cool to dink the equalizer. Few minutes later, substitute Ho Hyun-gyu scored the decisive goal. Co-host Mexico topped the group after their 2-0 win over South Africa, and they will meet the South Koreans next Thursday, while the Czechs take on South Africa in Atlanta. And Mexico ignited their World Cup party with a dominant 2-0 victory over 9-man South Africa as the biggest ever edition of the global footballing showpiece kicked off. Julian Quinones scored the opening goal of the tournament after 9 minutes, and 35-year-old striker Raul Jimenez headed in the second goal. South Africa, meanwhile, never looked like spoiling the opening day fiesta and finished with only 9 men after Suefelo Sithole and Themba Zwane were sent off. Mexico's Cesar Montes was also sent off for a late foul. As the world counts down to International Day of Yoga on June 21st, celebrations are already underway in South Africa. Against the breathtaking backdrop of Table Mountain, the Consulate General of India in Cape Town hosted a curtain raiser event highlighting this year's theme, Yoga for Healthy Aging. Nazneen Ismail reports from the summit of one of South Africa's most iconic landmarks.
Above Cape Town on the cliffs of Table Mountain, where the city stretches on the horizon below, an ancient practice took center stage. The Consulate General of India in Cape Town hosted a curtain raiser event ahead of the International Day of Yoga, bringing together diplomats, government leaders, and wellness enthusiasts in one of the most spectacular outdoor settings. Most people come to Table Mountain for the view. This time, participants arrived for something deeper. Against a backdrop of ocean, sky, and stone, yoga practitioners moved through a series of postures focused on balance, mindfulness, and well-being. The event marks the start of celebrations leading up to International Day of Yoga, observed globally on the 21st of June.
We organized it at the beautiful location of the Table Mountain. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site right here in Cape Town. And we were very happy to do it here. We wanted to bring out the connect between yoga, between wellness, with nature. And so we did it in the lap of nature to bring out this connection. And it happened very beautifully. We got a lot of positive response from the local government.
This year's theme, Yoga for Healthy Aging, places the spotlight on wellness across generations. After a recent gathering in Stellenbosch, beneath the scenic Helshoogte mountain pass, celebrations moved to Table Mountain, where participants embraced the idea that healthy aging is not simply about adding years to life, but adding life to those years. The gathering attracted both experienced practitioners and curious newcomers, many eager to experience yoga in a setting unlike any other. For some, it was a morning of exercise. For others, a chance to slow down, reconnect with nature, and discover why yoga continues to resonate with people across cultures, countries, and generations.
It was immense gratitude. Gratitude that I was able to teach so many amazing individuals on top of this amazing mountain at this point. Even though it's cold, it's an amazing opportunity, and the amount of gratitude I was feeling, blessings that brought me here and brought me in front of everyone.
As the countdown to International Day of Yoga continues, this gathering served as a reminder that wellness can be practiced anywhere, from mountain passes and city parks to the summit of one of Africa's most iconic landmarks.
It signifies a lot being in such an important, natural wonder of the world. And bringing in the essence of India with yoga, I think it was just the most beautiful combination there could be. Thanks to Ruby and the team of the Consulate General in Cape Town for bringing all of us together from different parts of the world to make it so memorable.
From Stellenbosch's mountain passes to the heights of Table Mountain, the journey toward International Day of Yoga has been guided by a simple message: that healthy aging begins with caring for both body and mind. And here above the city, that message may have found its most fitting stage yet. For DD India, South Africa, I'm Nazneen, coming to you from Table Mountain, Cape Town.
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Stay tuned for more news and updates.